We were intrigued by this debut album by Abominável, a new Portuguese band of which we don't have much information except that they are made up of Abominável, Wendigo and Sasquatch, a dream team of natural monsters. Lyrics in Portuguese, a love of more direct death metal without too much technical exaggeration, but with excellent guitar solos, and a strong, full production. Perhaps the biggest highlight and differentiating factor is the voice, which is often far removed from death metal but works well in this context. An interesting and disturbing piece of work that we recommend you get to know.
The second album by the American band Necrofier, which presents itself as melodic black metal, manages to captivate our attention in a subtle way. This is because the label makes us think of proposals like Cradle of Filth and Dimmu Borgir, although there are many other valid references, when what they present is more based on the traditional formula of the Scandinavian second wave, but without resorting to keyboards. The extra factor that they make good use of, excellent even, is the participation of the voice of Cammy Beverly from Oceans of Slumber in the intro, The Fall of Heaven, and The All-Seeing Shadow. This sobriety is really the secret of their success and makes us want to come back again. Melodic but very interesting black metal.
The long-awaited return of All Against, with a new lineup and Enrique Martins from Mementos Extremos de Obsesso competently taking over as the band's frontman. The band has always combined the more modern side of thrash metal with a certain punk/hardcore character, but The Day of Reckoning feels like a decisive step forward for a band that has always sought that same evolution. More dynamic, heavier, but also melodic, you only have to listen to Mass Murder Policy to get the idea. This is one of the great Portuguese thrash metal albums of 2023, and the feeling that much more could follow in creative terms.
Here we are again, paying our respects to Northern Silence Productions for bringing us another great album of atmospheric black metal. In this case, we're talking about the one-man Brazilian band Autrest, who have a passionate sound that's quite unusual compared to what we usually find in the Brazilian underground. Geographical issues aside, Follow the Cold Path is an album that we can't stop listening to and that has everything we look for in atmospheric and epic black metal. A very distinct sense of ambience, weight and melody that result in great songs where interest doesn't waver. Especially the longer songs, where there's no feeling of boredom. A varied album that will speak to the heart of anyone who likes atmospheric black metal.
Decade's JA's eternal devotion to the beginnings of extreme metal is legendary. Not only has it greatly marked Decade's own evolution, and even more noticeably in their choice of covers, but also in all their side projects. Rise from the Tomb is the third album that continues to pay homage to the primordial death/thrash metal of bands like Sodom, Kreator, and even Celtic Frost at certain moments. And it is possible, of course, to find parallels in the guitar riffs with the music of Decade and Alastair, for example, something that also becomes inevitable given that the main composer is the same. Risen from the Tomb is recommended for all nostalgic fans of extreme music and, of course, for fans of Decade.
One-man band from Australia, now on their third album, who are capable of surprising those who like the dirty mix between black and death metal. The balance between the two is well struck, with the former being felt more in the ambience and dissonance created and the latter in the raw power of the riffs and gutturals. Just like the colors on the cover, the way in which we are musically presented with other colors that are unexpected for what we would expect from a Black Death album is a nice surprise that will win over fans of the genre in just 30 minutes.
This is the second album by Portuguese black metalers Sonneillon, and it's what you'd expect. Black metal without compromise or mercy. This might lead you to think that we're dealing with something one-dimensional, and that's not even true. However, musically, this is not an album that always uses the same register. We have different dynamics, where uptempo is the highlight, but also the use of mid-tempo, which brings even more weight and intensity to the work as a whole. Without wanting to reinvent the wheel, the hatred of humanity, the melodies that serve as worship. An invocation of the Horned One, The Great Fall is an excellent example of this. Make this one of the highlights of Portuguese black metal in 2023.
There's nothing better than a Bongzilla record in the summer. Heat, road trips, and that smoke coming out of the speakers, regardless of whether there's smoke where we are, makes a perfect combination for anyone who likes sludge doom metal, a genre in which this American band is already an essential reference. Dab City begins with the title track, where we have 11 minutes that seem to flow without any difficulty or resistance, always with that psychedelic taste that is so good for those who like to feel the songs evolve and grow almost on their own. It's an album that has no worries about attracting a new audience or even presenting itself in an exuberant way. Organic production, a sound full of fuzz, and that distortion that takes us back to the garage sound and endless jams, which in this case, well smoked, seem even more inspired than they are. And these are plenty.